Hey, what's up, y'all? So, 34-door is back, baby. We busted ass getting this thing back together. She is running. Psych. It's just a EK hatch, man. I came over here and I was like, wait a minute. Them aluminum plates look familiar. And I'm like, oh, we got the 34-door decal. Cool. Apparently this guy brought his car over to get some work done and didn't have a hood on it. And it did rain the other day. So my buddy just said, you know what, I'll just borrow Dave's hood since it's just sitting. And I don't care. It is what it is. We're supposed to be looking into a carbon fiber one anyways. But yeah, it's a cool little car, man. It's slammed like a sunbitch though. But yeah, let's go ahead and get busy. What's up, y'all? Dirty 4-door here. Here we go again. It's another weekend, man. I'm just trying to get things done, the normal routine. So, obviously, painted the bay last weekend, so that is looking amazing. So, next thing right now, two things really that I like to do. Two things. I want to try to install the booster delete kit today. But mainly, I want to try to get that steering rack in. So I didn't go with a manual steering rack. I kept it with the power. I was going to like depower it. I looked up some things online where you got to like take it apart. And I just didn't really want to do all that. So I originally had bought a loop kit that when you take off your power steering pump and whatnot, you run these fittings and then a little, I think it's like a -4 line, and then you just kind of loop it, and that way some of the fluid that is in there stays in there, and it doesn't like dry out and ruin any more seals than they're probably already ruined. So I bought a brand new power steering rack. That way I had to change nothing with the clips or nothing like that. I bought the nice bushings for it. So I got new bushings, I got the new rack, and then I did the Megan outer, like the reverse or flip tie rod ends. But I want to see how this rack goes on, whether I have to put the flip or the fittings and stuff on for the loop kit. Do I do it before I install it, or do I wait till I install it and then get those fittings in? I'll have to look at everything and just kind of go from there. But I'll show y'all kind of step by step as I'm doing it, and what I'm doing and what I ran into as I'm doing it. And then I have to wait for my buddy to come back from eating dinner, and he can help me get this booster delete kit. I might have forgot the bolts for it. If I did, not gonna be able to do it. But for the most part, I should have everything. And if I do have the bolts, we'll be able to go ahead and install that. That way I can get the pedal in. I think I may have forgotten, but I think it might be in the car, the bolt for the clutch stop. So I can put the clutch pedal back in. I actually have a 17 millimeter bolt. I learned that from Aki. Appreciate that, man, the Keep Gunning channel. So I went ahead and got a bolt. I believe it's a 12 by 1 1/4. And I forget how many inches I bought. I think it was like a 3-inch bolt. I don't need it too long, but I wanted it, a decent amount, so I knew I had room to play. I used the nut that comes off the clutch sensor, I guess, for like starting and stuff. So I'll just remove that little big sensor, which is just already out, take that nut off, use it on the new bolt, and then put it in the place of that on the clutch pedal assembly. And then that way you'll have an actual clutch stop instead of doing one on your floorboard where you actually have to like cut a hole and all that other jazz. This is right at the top, so as you push, it'll catch. And then, like he says, and it's the first time I've ever done it, but what Aki tells you is you wait until it engages, and then that's the point. So you keep trying until you loosen it enough, and then once it starts to engage and it's engaging, then it doesn't need to go anymore, especially now that we'll be running a twin disc clutch. So yeah, man, let's go ahead and start getting busy, man. All right, fellas. So it's a new day. We got some lights that I can better describe what's going on. When I put this steering rack in, it was fighting me because of those fittings and stuff. So basically you can go ahead and put these fittings on. It's kind of hard to see, but these two fittings on the back side here first. And then once you get it in, leave it a little bit loose. Go ahead and tighten that hose all the way up, and then you can go ahead and put your bolts. I would start with this big bushing side first, because you got to get the one like bracket like over the bushing, and then the one under it. Just kind of start getting the bolts in the threads. And the same thing on this side with the two bolts, and then go ahead and tighten her all the way up. I still haven't put the tie rod ends in. I was having a hard time with these brake lines, so the brackets were really kicking my butt. These brackets right here, so mine weren't like bent the right way, and I was having a really hard problem putting these new lines in and trying to figure everything out. So I pretty much got it the way that I want it, and I'm able to use the blue ones. So I bought two different sets. So originally I was going to use the brakes, the drum brakes. So these would be these two here are for the drums, and then this is for the front. But then I went ahead and ordered a kit for disc brakes, which was blue, which is the color I was looking for anyways. And I was fighting, going back and forth. And the way the ends are on these, you can see it has that little bit of an angle on the head here, where the other ones, the grayish color ones, are straight. So I figured, oh, maybe the straight ones are going to work a little better, but I figured it out now. These blue ones are going to work. So now I just need to get those in, tighten everything up, and I'll be good. So the kit comes for the sport front wheel drive brake line setup. It comes with these grommets, and the way I got it set up is I wanted to put this one. It only comes with two clips. This will clip here, and there's this clip here, and then obviously a grommet for this side. So I wanted to put these two clips here to keep it nice and tight. And then for the back side, I just kind of looped it there, and I had this clip here. It's a little loose, but it's the only one I had. And it was the only way I could really get everything to kind of get this thing as straight as possible. Obviously, it's still loose. Everything is. I want to get everything just snug, and that way I can figure out what's going on. I should have bled this damn clutch first before I installed it off. You can see how dark that is. So definitely going to have to bleed that all the way out. I don't know if it's from this K-Tune. This K-Tune slave might actually be the problem. I remember one time before, around this seal here, it was leaking a little bit. So I don't know if I'm going to go with like a stock style blocks. I think it makes a stock looking one. I may or may not do that, but I don't know. But that's what I got so far. But the booster obviously is nice and snug up in there. I got that nice and tight with the brackets and all that. This is the one that I'm going to use as far as reservoir. They come with two different ones. So you have this small one here, and then this big one. The big one would be great if you were going to run like all four corners with it. But since this is just a sport front wheel drive setup, and it's only front brakes because the rears are going to be going off a stage brake, so we're only worried about the fronts here. I keep getting mixed reviews and opinions about, oh, you're not going to like it. The brakes are going to suck without a booster. Are you driving it on the street? Oh, that's going to suck. And then you get some guys, like the drift guys, like, oh, man, that's awesome. Go for it. You'll love it. You have more control, more feel. And like anything, it takes, obviously, adjustment and getting used to. But also, when I put this catch can in, I put tape all around it. I don't want to scratch any surfaces. That looks like it's in a good spot. I still may or may not put the actual battery tray there, but it looks like it's going to hold. It's semi-sturdy. I think it'll be all right. If it starts cracking the welds or something on it, then I'll figure something later on. But for the time being, I think it's going to work out good. I just got to have to figure out where I want to put my battery. Do I want to get one of those boxes for down here? I've seen a guy, he actually had it mounted right here, but I'm thinking right here is a good spot for me. But that's something we will figure out later on. I went ahead and brought a few things from the house over here. My oil pan, my oil pump, oil gasket, all the bolts, the rear main seal, and the cover. And the pickup tube and the windows tray and all the bolts for that. I finally got it. So it's basically everything to basically assemble the windows tray, oil pickup tube, put the pan on, have the oil pump in the front, have the rear main seal cover on, have that all locked in, tightened down, boom, it's done. That way I can bring over my little engine cradle, hook that up, flip it upside down, slide it right on into the engine bay area, start getting the gasket, the head studs, the head on, intake manny, and then with the cradle it's awesome because you can actually bolt the transmission to it, so we can just slide it on in and start mounting. So man, this thing is moving, man. We're getting things done. But I'm gonna jump off here, get back to work. I'm gonna go ahead and tighten up all these brake lines. Once I get everything tight the way I like it and everything is secure, I'll come back. I'll show you guys what it looks like after that. All right, so I ain't got it done. Let me show you all in here now. So got that thing all nice and tight up in here, and it comes down and makes this small little loop here. Kind of can adjust a little bit as needed. But the main thing is like, you know, as it turns, I didn't really want it to crush, you know. Let me see. Like turn all the way in like that. You can see there, still not too bad. I don't think it, and if anything, it'll kind of force itself around back and forth as it needs, as long as it doesn't rub too much there. And it's obviously the same thing on both sides. You know, got it all tight up in here. Tighten all the, it actually isn't copper, these are like aluminum crush washers or whatever, spacers. And it moves nice and freely, and it should be good. It's not rubbing up on the wheel, which would be something I'd be worried about, like if it was all the way up on it. It's not. And then once the axle is in there, you don't want to rub in there, because I've had that happen before too. Next thing you know, your foot's right on the floor. Obviously all this stuff was tight. I got it tight up in here. I went ahead and tightened there. Had a little bit of thread come out of there, like a, you know, almost looks like a coil kind of undone. It could have been from these crush washer things, these aluminum ones. So used to copper, but it's what came with the kit, so I went ahead and used them anyways. Cool thing about this is, like, that's how we fill it. You know, it's so tight up in there, but we have this little hole here that used to be for your wiper stuff. So that's going to be the way that we're going to have to fill it. We'll run a little funnel, and boom, because the idea was like, wait a minute, how are we going to fill it? Perfect. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So obviously once we get the motor and stuff in, and all the stuff I had to get broke loose to get axles in and all that, I'll make sure all the suspension bolts are nice and tight at that time. I'm pretty sure some of this stuff is like either kind of snug or just barely hit on with like an impact gun or whatnot, so they're not like hand tight, you know what I mean? But they aren't crazy tight. At least some of the stuff I think isn't, just because I knew it was going to have to come back apart. But I am super ecstatic right now, guys. You know, once I can clean up the mess in the inside a little bit, I can then worry about going and get that dashboard probably put back in. I think one thing I probably would do is fill that up, check for leaks before anything else gets installed anywhere. You know, pump this brakes, because you don't need the car on. You don't need the power to it, because it's a non-power brake. It's not assisted with the booster. So that is one good thing. You know, we can I can get some little buckets or something and run some hoses off of the bleeders, run it straight to the ground, pump it, you know, let that thing gravity bleed itself for a little bit and see how she feels. And mainly, like I said, just check for the leaks and stuff. I don't want to get the whole motor back together and all of a sudden we got leaks and stuff. So that's what I got there. I'm going to go ahead and try to do a couple other things and see how much we can get accomplished today, man. But it's definitely looking good. It's definitely looking good.